Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Missouri Star Live. I am Misty Doan, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. We have Liz behind the camera.
Hello.
And our fabulous camera crew here as well, so thank you to them. As always, let us know where you're tuning in from. Let's see who we've got today. We have Linda from the snowy California-Oregon border. We have some snow here as well, Linda. It's very, very cold here today. Betsy from Connecticut, Cindy from Idaho. Liz, who do you have on your end?
We've got Carol from It's Beautiful Out Here, Florida,
Oh,
so jealous
lucky.
of that.
Yeah.
And Karen says good morning from West Virginia. And Jolie says good morning from Boise.
Awesome. Thank you
over.
guys so much for tuning in. We have a really fun project, super simple project today. I'm very excited. But first, let me show you my adorable dog. Cole, can you make Iris appear?
There she is.
This is our girl Iris. She is very spoiled, and I have fallen in love with making her these little over-the-collar bandanas. And so I thought I would share with you guys how I did that. I made this. We also have a great little printable that you can get in the description below, so make sure you pop down and grab that. And it actually gives you the dimensions to make this in 4 different sizes, from extra small to large. So depending on the size of your pup or cat, if you're so inclined, if you can get your cat to wear bandanas, I'm all for it. My cat has a little football jersey that we like to torture her. Not really torture her. She likes it.
Yeah.
She wears on football days. So, whatever your heart desires. Exactly.
Nice.
Maybe you have a llama that you want to make a bandana for. We're all for that
That's
here.
right. From the Burmese to the gerbil, we got you covered.
That's it. We have you covered. So make sure you print off this printable. It'll give you the dimensions, but this is super easy, and you can basically take any rectangle and it will work for some sort of pup. But let me show you I've got the extra small, medium, and large cut out here. So this is our small, and it measures 8 across by 6 down. We're using Chiefs prints because I don't know if you guys are football fans, but this is our hometown team, and we're very excited to have our Chiefs in the big game. So I've got some Chiefs fabric and also this great military print. This is for my brother's pup. It's going to go to her, so we grabbed this as well. And this is the medium, and it measures 9.5 by 7.5. And then this is a large, and it measures 11 across by 9 down. And so you can see they're all, just stepped up in sizes, but the basic construction technique is exactly the same. To just give you an idea how it looks finished, you can see there's no raw edges, and there's just this little opening so you can slide your dog's collar through. So one thing to keep in mind, you might want to go ahead and measure that collar and also measure the width to make sure that this opening is going to allow the collar to slide through.
Good call.
That's really the only trick. You just want it to slip on through there so it will stay on them, and they can look, cute and festive, and you can make these in any color. Yes.
And just a quick shout out, Nancy Griffin says, I love to make these reversible. So you could put Chiefs on one side.
I was just going to say that. I think
awesome.
That's a great idea. Because of the nature of this design, it's perfect to use a different print on either side. I actually have a Valentine's one that I made for Iris here. I used the leftover fabrics from our last zipper project, and you can see I made it reversible for her.
Cute.
So she's got the white on this side and the cute red on the other. So reversible is a great idea. But let me show you how we did this. I'm going to use our large just so you guys can see. It's really easy. And we're going to reference on the printable. You can see here, it tells you the rectangle size on the top and then the collar opening that I recommended based off of my research when I was designing this. And so since we're doing a large, we're going to have a 2.5 inch collar opening. And so what that means is we're going to measure down. Let me grab a pen here or a pencil. There we go. And I'm actually going to put these right sides together first so that I'm marking on the wrong side of the fabric. So let's lay these together.
And Melanie Harris says, how would we measure it for our pups? How would you decide which size they want?
So I would take off your dog's collar, and I like to measure, I leave about Oh, I would say a 3 to 4 inch opening around the neck. I don't want it to go right around their neck. And so I would just measure, leaving, 1.5 to 2 inches on either side, so there's plenty of room for it to buckle comfortably. And then whatever that measures in between, that's kind of the number you're looking for. And also this should pretty closely coordinate with, like, if you happen to buy them sweaters. I don't know what kind of pet person you are. I'm a crazy pet person, so my animals have clothes. It should coordinate with the size of the pet clothing in general.
Okay.
So it might be a little bit off. Like Iris, I buy her a large sweater. I decided that I actually prefer the medium bandana on her, even though the large works. So it can just be some trial and error. But like I said, just take off that collar and measure, and that's going to give you the closest to accurate. So now we've got, remember, this is our large size rectangle. And so the measurement that we need to mark is 2.5 for the collar opening. So I'm just going to put a little dot with my marking tool on either side here. And you can see I've got one there and there. I just measured down from the top edge 2.5. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to find our center point for the bottom, where we're going to cut to make the point of this bandana. And so this measures 11 across, so we know we need to come over 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. And again, I'm just making a mark. And it's just small enough that you can see. And like I said, I like to make sure that my fabrics are lined up right sides together. And the reason I do this is when I make these cuts and take it to the machine, I know they're going to stay lined up. Whereas if you flip them over, they maybe won't be exact, even though we try to make it as close as possible. So now I'm just going to lay my ruler along the line of those two marks. So you can see I've got this top one lined up here and the bottom one here, and I'm just going to make a cut. And this is our waist. And I'm going to turn here and make a cut. There we go. And that is ready to go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this over to the iron, and really quickly we are just going to turn under the two sides and go ahead and hem this so we don't have any raw edges. So I like to turn it under 1/4 inch and turn it again. And I usually can get both of those turns and just press it once, but you can also turn, press, turn and press, whatever you need to do. Then we'll do the opposite side. And I really just eyeball this. Give it a press.
And folks are asking, is that upside down? And so I want to point out, because it is a directional fabric, you do kind of want to pay attention to.
That's a good point.
Yep.
And so these won't be upside down, but I did use a directional print. So you want to make sure that if you have words or anything like that, that they will be facing up. These are not upside down. These are going to work out just right.
They might look upside down to you if you're looking at our camera, because she's got them facing her.
Right, exactly. They're turned towards me. And so I just sit here at the iron. I'm going to go ahead and turn both of these edges under. Again, 1/4 inch in and another 1/4 inch. Give it a press. And then we'll turn to the other side. And I just roll it back like that and press it down. And now that we have our hems turned under, I'm going to go ahead and take this to the machine. I've switched out my thread, so I am using a red thread, and I have red thread in my bobbin just so that it will match. And I'm just going to do a top stitch just right down the center of that turn so that we have a nice finished edge, and this will be sturdy when we want to, oops, I lost my petal, there it is. This will be sturdy when we want to take it off and wash it.
And Seaburger is asking, do you use sizing on the fabric to get it that stiff? And this particular fabric has some sizing in it.
Yes, so
right?
this one is very stiff naturally, but if you want it stiff, you absolutely could starch it. This Chief's print is just has some natural sizing, I think, in it. And
yep. I think a lot of the licensed prints for our sports teams often do have that extra starch to them.
Exactly. So you can see we just top stitch down either side, and I do like to keep the wrong side facing me just so I can make sure I'm catching that hem. And we'll go ahead and do the other one here. Trim our threads and turn.
And I also love, Misty, you were telling me about how you came up with this for the collar because the first version of a bandana, Iris.
She just ate it. She did. She just chewed it right up. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. And so I did have to modify it. So yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Liz. It was definitely some trial and error. I was very proud of myself for her first cute little bandana, and then she just ate the whole tip right off of it. And so I shrunk it down a little bit, realized it needed to be a little bit smaller, and now it's been great. She wears them. They don't get in her way. And so you can see I've got both of my halves here. Remember, again, if you have our printable, this is a size large that I'm making, just for your reference. And so now we're going to go ahead and put these right sides together. And you can see they line up great with our little turns, and my points line up great. But I'm going to start by sewing a 1/4 inch seam right across this top here. And I do want to point out that I backstitch pretty heavily at the start and the stop here, because remember, all of the tension that's going to be on this project is going to be on those openings. So I'm going to go back and forth 2 or 3 times, and I recommend you do that as well. So let's take this over here. There's that back stitch.
Yeah, so Julie, hope that answers your question. She says not back stitching edges. Yes, just on these across the top.
Right, because
that'll enclose it better.
This is the seam that will matter.
Yep. I just love how fast this is too. Like you're almost halfway done.
Exactly, it's so quick. They're pretty addictive once you get going. All right. So you can see we've got that top side sewn, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing from this side edge to the point. So let's do that. Again, back stitching at the top especially, because that's where the collar is going to go through. And then just make sure that we are all lined up. There we go, and then we'll turn this around and go down the other side. Okay, that is pretty much the magic of this. That's really all there is. The one last thing I want to point out, let me grab some scissors here. Got some little snips, these will work. I do go ahead and cut off the bulk of the tip here. Just make sure you don't cut through those stitches. And then I'm also going to cut off some of the bulk here just so we can get a nice sharp point at the tip of our bandana. Just get that out of the way. And then you can just start turning through your collar opening. And we're just going to push this through. This takes just a little bit of maneuvering. If you have a chopstick or a purple thing, anything like that, or even just a pen or pencil, you can just use that to turn it. But it really does come through fairly easily once you get it started. There
now
we
the
go.
big reveal.
The big reveal. You can see it just turns nicely. I'm going to use this little tool, my marking pen, to get the point all turned out. You just want to take your time. Yeah.
Beverly has a great idea. She says you can make a mask and a bandana matching for your
Oh,
walks.
that would be so cute. That was such a good idea. And so then, yeah, we're just going to make sure this is nice and turned out. This looks really great. I'm going to go ahead and give this a press. Let's take it over to the iron. I like to just make sure with my fingers that I don't have anything tucked or hiding under there. Feels good. And then again on the top, just want to make sure I have it as smooth as possible so we're not getting any pleats caught in there. There we go. And so the last thing that I like to do is I just like to top stitch again to anchor this. So I'm going to top stitch across the top and then down our sides again. And I do want to mention, I tried this 2 ways. And the final design I decided to just, you can actually see it better here, to only top stitch here and across the top. I also tried adding a secondary line here just to support the collar, and I found that I liked the way it laid on Iris better without that line down here. So that's why I decided to leave it out. So let's go ahead and add this top stitching now to our bandana. And you're going to want to back stitch, like I said, here again. And I'm just staying really close to that top edge, just a nice finishing top stitch. And then we can turn and go down the side.
And Kate Brennan's asking, why don't you pivot at the point of the bandana? So it's kind of personal preference to sew off the edge or to pivot.
It totally is, and that's actually a great question because I am going to pivot on the top stitching.
Gotcha.
When I was sewing it and it's going to be inside, I just wasn't worried about it, and I know that I want to clip those threads, and so having the threads cross to me in my mind gives it a little bit more stability when I go to clip that tip off.
Okay.
But that's a great question. So yeah, I'm just going to top stitch down this one side and slow down as I get to the point and pivot, because then it has a nice clean finish.
And yes, Dan, a pattern for every holiday or season is totally correct.
Exactly.
You can do this. I think these are addictive. You can make a whole pile of these for every holiday and every event and
exactly. You know, they're part of the
day.
family. There's no reason that they shouldn't have their own gear to celebrate any occasion with the rest of us. So that is it. It is that simple. That is the finished bandana. You can see the collar just slides right through here. And should we pop that picture of Iris up one more time to show how great it looks?
And now she's going to be all set for the big game.
She's all ready for the big game coming up here in another, what is it, 2 weeks? So yeah, we're super excited. This is a really great project. Just to show you one more time, this is a large. This is, here, let me actually switch this out. So this is a large as well. This is a medium. And I thought I had a finished small, but I guess I do not. But this is an extra small. So you can see they just kind of stair step in, and they're so, so cute. And if you have a giant dog and feel like you need one even larger than this, you can use these dimensions as a guideline. So just remember, don't be afraid to try. Another great thing about this project is it's totally fat quarter friendly. So if you have a fat quarter, you can make these for your pup. They're just awesome.
And it's also just such a quick thing to sometimes get your sojo back.
Exactly.
Is to make a quick project and finish it. Mary Davids Willer says, I made 60 to donate to my local animal shelter for Adoption Day.
I love that.
So even if you don't have your own doggo or cat who would love a bandana, there's probably a cat or dog in your life who would enjoy it.
Exactly. I already have friends who have put in requests for their pups. So I think it's a great project. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I love the idea of making them to donate. That's a wonderful idea. So do that by all means. I'm going to be looking into that myself. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Do we have any more questions? All right. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Bye.